Damien Hardwick wants the Gold Coast Suns to grow up. To his credit, the coach, after the loss to North Melbourne, included himself in his brutal and, let's face it, poorly worded assessment. Well, here's one area where both the Gold Coast Suns and the coach could grow up. Let's have a listen to what he said last week when questioned about Dustin Martin.
Well, probably like 17 other clubs, we're always looking for good players, and Gold Coast is no different, as is every other club. So, those list management calls will get made, towards the back end of the year.
Damien, I reckon the more mature answer would have been no. Dustin Martin's a champion. He's a 300 gamer, possibly Richmond's greatest ever player. But he's not a part of our future, and he should remain a Tiger. The Gold Coast have some brilliant players, and their future are guys like Miller and Anderson and Rowell and Humphrey. And they don't need comments like that from their coach. They don't need Dustin Martin to win a premiership. In your own words, Damien, you've some wonderful new toys up there. Get them going and let Dustin Martin remain a one-club player.
Love the arrow. Couldn't disagree more.
Clearly, I have Dustin Martin on the brain. Sorry about that.
Why would he say that he's not part of the future when that would be a lie?
I don't see him in any way being part of their plans. I think Dustin's becoming a bit of a distraction at Richmond, and I don't think he needs to become a distraction on the Gold Coast.
Do you think Dustin Martin is a good fit on the Gold Coast in his current form and his current motivation levels?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be a good role model for those young players to come in?
Yes, I do.
And set an example, training standards, and be a consistent player.
But because he will train.
And my argument to Caro is if they want Dustin Martin, that's not your call, that's theirs. And if they want Dustin Martin, they should go.
They get him for free. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to have an opinion, aren't I?
Yeah, but you can't have a crack at him for
I
what
don't
he
think it's the
says.
right call, and I don't think that's the right message to send to his players. They don't need Dustin Martin, in my opinion, and not that I'm allowing others to join in here, but I don't think I'm alone in that opinion. I think he is the last thing they need, and I also have a firm belief that some champions, for their own sake and for the sake of their club, should remain one club.
Why is he the last thing they need?
I just don't think he's the right fit, and I don't think in the position that he plays they need him in that position. And as I said, Matthew, don't you think some players, just for the sake of the game and some romance, should be one club players?
Well, Luke Hodge was wonderful for Brisbane. I think the times have changed a little.
Yeah, but Hawthorn and Luke, so Hawthorn sort of retired Luke Hodge, really. I mean, Dustin Martin would not be retired by Richmond. They're not pushing him out.
Jordan
it's a completely different
I think they bring a
situation.
different skill set, Hodge and Mitchell, than what Dustin Martin's going to bring to Gold Coast.
They brought leadership to their clubs.
I got no issue with what Damien
clubs.
Hardwick said and the way that he answered the question, but it would be a big mistake for Gold Coast to sign Dustin Martin.
And it would be the sign of a new maturity if they sat down and realised they don't need Dustin Martin.
I agree.
Carol, on the Tigers, where are they at, do you think, just in general? Another disappointing display on the weekend. Well,
they're bottom of the ladder, and I must say I didn't see that coming. I didn't think they'd make finals, but I didn't think they'd finish bottom of the ladder and they might not. But look, really frustrating for Adamuzze. We know he's had the issues that Adam Simpson had last year and the year before with injuries, but that's no excuse for some of the performances. And I do think now with Brendan Gale on the way out, there's a lot of off-field, great stuff happening off-field for Richmond. Peggy O'Neill last week into the Hall of Fame. Obviously the Dustin celebration a few weeks ago. There's not a lot to celebrate on the field, and I think there's going to be changes. I think that probably Adamuzze will change his coaches around. I think David Teague, is looking at going elsewhere, and there might be a new senior assistant there next year. And Brendan Gale obviously isn't going to be part of that decision. So I just wonder about maybe it's time to jump in and make a few big decisions now.